Hello, giving a quick overview of the Saphira requirements platform right here. We're starting with a battery project. So to begin with, you can see some analytics at the high level of the project, things like the number of components, the number of versions that are present. You can see some of the most recently updated requirements, like this child requirement, this one. We'll go look into those in just a minute. And then importantly, you can view some breakdowns of the entire project. The number that are validated versus unvalidated. We'll look at how that information gets gathered and the stage, so released or draft, so on. So let's start by looking at some of these requirements. So we'll dig in right here to refresh. Right here, you can see, for example, that batref 0001 is this. You can click in and view the full text. It is a requirement around the battery capacity, so stating that we must support a minimum electric range of 675 kilometers. So you can see that that information was extracted when this was imported from some external system. So let's actually quickly look at how that gets done. So what I'm going to do is I've exported this into numbers right here. You can also use an existing Excel file of requirements you might have, or an export from doors or something like that. And you can see we have this one right here, but I've actually edited it to 700 kilometers. So let me also edit that value right here. So 700. And we'll save this. But I need to make sure while I do this that we actually export it to CSV. We'll explore more of this later. This is just a test. And we'll save this to desktop, title, replace. And let's go back over here. So now we'll try importing this spreadsheet. And we'll opt out of the Jira integration for now. And we'll select this CSV. And it'll take a minute to go through and analyze it, but we'll see something pretty exciting once that comes through. So you'll see, for example, that you actually do have exactly one action updated, and then actually a variety of different requirements that are newly imported. So we can click into batref 001 to view the change log, where the change that's actually being made, which in this case is the value from 675 to 700. And we'll close this out. That will have gone through, and you can come back and view things like the history. Importantly, you can also view the relationships to child requirements like batref 001, which is just a statement regarding energy density. So let's look at something interesting about how these two get related. So we will click on Generate Test Plan for this one. And this is going to tell us how we want to evaluate this manually, but it'll also give us some unit testing code that can be integrated with either a hardware in the loop test suite or directly used as a model per se. So you can see automatically this uses the Saphira library. It'll get the battery capacity parameter from here, and then it'll perform some testing around that. It'll assert that it's above a certain threshold, and it'll grab the energy density as well and assert that that energy density is sufficient. So we can actually copy all this, and you can even see that the energy density is actually the child requirement. So it verifies that those two are there. So let's copy this code, and we'll pull it over to VS Code, where we can run it in what ends up being our environment, our test environment. So you can see actually in this sample test that I've put together, which is already getting batref 001, it's actually posting back the validation right here. So this one is going to pull this and perform some calculation, but you could replace battery weight in this calculation with some actual pull from your quality management system or live tests. So we'll now run this test battery capacity. And it actually updated this requirement now to unvalidated. Let's go back and check. Verification mode is unset, and you can see it's now set to unvalidated. And we can go back to the home page and view that comprehensively as unvalidated. That's a brief overview of some of the basic features of Saphira. The exciting stuff now comes into play when you consider Saphira GPT. So let's click over there and let's take a look at what it tells us. So some of these queries take a little bit of time, but you can ask at a high level, what are the critical requirements of this project? It takes a few seconds, but it'll give you an overview of the project. There you go. So you can see, for example, some of the requirements that we didn't yet look at on the requirements page included, for example, the effective operating temperatures and some definitions of operational efficiency and some extreme conditions. So you can use this to understand much more qualitative information about your requirements. All right, that's a brief overview of the Saphira platform. Thanks for watching.